The Seattle Mariners have not reached the postseason in 14 years. With a mighty push this September, the Mariners have the goods to make some noise in the American League. They have frontline starters, plenty of power, and their revamped bullpen has some power arms that can shut down the late innings. This series, it's been all Seattle, and with 3 weeks to go in the season, the wild card race should be an exciting one, and the Mariners are in the thick of it. The A's will try to slow down the Mariners, and it starts right now. Beautiful day for baseball at the Coliseum as the A's wrap up this homestand. Third and final game of the series. It's the A's and the Mariners. Today's game is presented by Hyundai, and Raul Alcantara will make his second big league start. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Oakland A's baseball. Along with Ray Fosse, I'm Glenn Kuiper. You saw Raul Alcantara, and again, his second big league start. Got to be better than his first run. I think when it's all said and done, there had to be some nerves involved because all of a sudden he's wild, and generally he's not a pitcher who's wild.
You know, the good part about this whole scenario with him in that first inning, he's throwing mid-90s, so he's got the good fastball. He has a good breaking ball. His trial with a couple of strikes, that kind of started it. This one probably upset him more than anything. Albert Pujols dropped his bat. Everybody started talking. The home plate umpire said, hey, we're not warning anybody. Where he's a little wild. And Mike Socha said why he thought everybody had been warned. But then Pujols comes up with a hit, flips his bat. But the biggest one was not that Marte with the 3-0 that he got, but this Jet Bandy. When he hit the bat, if you get hit with a 95-mile-an-hour fastball, you're not going to stand there and say, oh, what happened, and then not shake your elbow. He got hit in the bat. Didn't hurt him at all, so Alcantara is going to be a lot better today. All
right, Nelson Cruz right in the middle of the Mariners lineup, and this team is scoring a lot of runs. He's 36 years old, Ray, and the bat speed is still there, and he's having a big series.
Well, he did it again against the Athletics. He started with Mengden the first game of the series, but what he has done against the A's in his career this season has been unbelievable. But he is a star player. He's in the middle of the lineup, and whether he's DHing or playing right field, he's going to swing the bat and swing it effectively. What he did yesterday, bases loaded, first pitch hitting off the wall. I mean, he just comes through with big hits, and he's not afraid to drive in a run. He's going to hit home runs. He's going to use the whole field, but the bottom line, of runners in scoring position, he's going to try to drive him in.
Yeah, good Mariners lineup anchored by those three all-star hitters in the middle of that lineup. James Paxton, young left-hander, is going to pitch today for Seattle. And the A's, they're going to try to salvage the final game of this three-game series. We'll have lineups at first pitch when we return to the Coliseum. Stick around.
Baseball on CSN California is brought to you by Jack in the Box. Taste the all-new Jack's Brewhouse Bacon Burger today at Jack in the Box. Limited time only at participating restaurants. By Toyota, the full-line automaker with the longest-lasting vehicles in America. Toyota, let's go places. And by America's Tire. Your low-price journey starts here.
Welcome back to the Coliseum. Stephen Vogt and the Athletics. The all-whites on. And they're trying to salvage the final game of this series against the Seattle Mariners. Let's look at the game time weather for today. It's presented by the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk. Get to the beach. The admission-free boardwalk is open this weekend. Nice day, breezy 67 degrees. The A's will finish up today and then head out on the road to Kansas City and to Texas, Arlington, Texas, for a 7-game road trip. Mariners, they'll head down to Anaheim to take on the Angels. Here's the lineup today for the Seattle Mariners. Aoki, Smith, Cano, and then Cruz, Seager, Lind, Zunino, Martin, and Marte.
And Raul Alcantara will make his second major league start, and he hopes to do much better than he did against the Angels. That ERA very inflated considering he went very short, just 3 innings of work on Monday against the Angels. So he will try to improve on his start today against a club he's never faced before, which that's going to be obvious for a few starts for him. But good fastball, mid-90s, and he hopes to use it again today.
Behind Alcantara, defensively, Smolinski in left. Eidner plays center field today. Valencia is in right. Then Healy, Simeon, Hinder, and Alonso on the infield third to first, with Stephen Vogt doing the catching. So Scott Service and his Mariners have won 4 in a row. They're 74 and 68. They are 3.5 back in that wild card race. So
they have a lot of hope.
They do have hope. Playing very well right now, and they have enough time, but what they cannot afford is any type of losing streak. Even a 3-game losing streak is something they just cannot afford. They need to stretch a bunch of wins together. They're trying to sweep the A's. So Aoki is ready, and so is Raul Alcantara, 23-year-old right-hander. Second big league start, and he pumps in a first pitch strike to Nori Aoki. Already it's a better start, Ray, than
108.
We're blaming it on nerves. There's a line drive, and Alonso grabs it playing in, and that's out number 1. Umpires today. It's going to be Will Little, Lance Barksdale, Angel Hernandez, and the crew chief, Ted Barrett. Ted Barrett's at third. Will Little calling balls and strikes. So first out recorded by Raul Alcantara, and here's Seth Smith. Smith at 267 with 13 home runs and 51 runs batted in. And the first pitch a strike.
Take that, strike zone all day.
You like that call?
Absolutely. Down in the zone that far.
Seth Smith, 3 hits in the series. He's 3 for 7. A couple of strikeouts and a run scored so far against his old team. One tapped right at home plate. Caught a little of the foot of Seth Smith. Strike percentage by inning in Major League debut. It went up each inning, and we're not surprised by that. But it was a tough first inning for Alcantara.
He's got 4 quality pitches. Just a matter of Stephen Vogt using all of those pitches today.
Pinder, nice play. Backhand, pops up, throws to first, and Alonso kept his foot on the bag. Nice play all around. Seth Smith is not convinced.
No, neither is Scott Service. Lance Barksdale, the first base umpire, saw enough to see it, and just a matter of did he keep his foot on the bag when he caught it and then fell off the bag. Alonso's pretty good. Actually kept his foot on the bag.
He did.
He did a great job, but that's the old looking at it. The naked eye said no way, but there's a great shot, guys, because that's what Lance Barksdale saw. If you're the other side, the dugout, says Smith, you're saying, wait a minute, he caught it off the bag, but clearly a good play by Alonso. And for Pinder, he made a nice play to start. He didn't have to hurry as much as he did, but a great play.
Exmo brought to you by Cache Creek Casino Resort. So 2 outs, and here's Robinson Cano. Cano at 301 with 32 home runs. He is 1 for 6 in the series. He's walked a couple of times.
It's almost like Cano is going to make Alcantara throw a strike before he decides to swing.
Not a bad idea, maybe.
Well, you know, if you haven't seen a guy, then why be overly aggressive? And maybe what he saw with Aoki and Smith, he's just going to take his time.
Took a rip at that one on 2-0, fouled it straight back. So 2-1 to Cano. Alcantara trying to have a nice 3-up, 3-down inning. Wouldn't that be something? Mariners again 74 and 68. They're 34 and 37 on the road this year. But here at the Coliseum, they have played extremely well. They're 7-1 here in Oakland this year. 9-5 overall against the Athletics. So they've come in here and done damage. Overall, they're 29 and 33 against the West.
Catching standpoint, it was Bruce Maxwell catching Alcantara last Monday. And from the standpoint of Bob Melvin, with 2 left-handed catchers or hitting catchers, he had the option of using either one. Of course, McBride is a right-handed hitter, could have used him, but there's a good changeup, 3-2, probably a surprise for everybody.
So he gets Robinson Cano and a nice first inning for Alcantara. Quiet top of the first for the Mariners. Lineup for the A's has Smolinski, Simeon, Valencia top 3, then Davis, Healy, Vogt, Eibner, Alonso, and Pinder.
A young man who's quite good, and that is James Paxton on the mound for the Mariners today. He started against the A's last September, but not this year. But he's had good numbers against the A's so far, 4-6 on the season. But he does have 2 career wins against the Athletics, mid-90s, mid-upper 90s fastball. Got a cutter to go along with the 2-4 seam. Curveball and changeup. So he's got a nice assortment and a highly talented left-hander in the organization.
Defensively behind Paxton, Aoki, Martin, Smith in the outfield, Seager, Marte, Cano, Lynn in the infield, and Zunino is your catcher. Yeah, highly touted is right. You know what else is right? Needs to stay healthy.
Yeah.
He's been on the disabled list in each of the last 3 years, and the Mariners are counting on him. He just cannot stay healthy. But yeah, when healthy, he's pretty darn good. Big guy, 6'4", 220, 27 years old. James Paxton from British Columbia. Smolinski drives one down the right field line. Smith hustling over into foul territory and hits off the railing. So news today from the Athletics. They have released designated hitter Billy Butler. This season, 276. The combined numbers for Billy Butler, played in 236 games with the A's, hit 19 home runs, and just never really duplicated the success he had with the Kansas City Royals. So we wish Billy Butler the best, whatever happens, whether he hits with another team or not. Smolinski has a base hit, but Ray, you know, sometimes things just don't work out. I mean, you know, you can kick this around all you want. The A's are going to pay him a full salary for next year. Sometimes free agent signings just don't work, and this one didn't work.
Didn't work, and you know, he played consistently with the Royals, and you know, sometimes you change organizations if you stay in one, and all the more reason at times that, you know, guys are free agents. If they have an opportunity to stay with one organization their whole career, why not? And in the case of Butler, I think there was kind of a situation where he could go back to the Royals, but they said take your contract, so he's with the A's. And I agree with you. We'll wish him well. It's kind of tough to know that you have a full year. Somebody could pick him up really once he clears waivers, and they could get him for the minimum salary.
And I think even with his contract running through next year, I just don't know. I just don't think there was any scenario where he was going to be with the A's next year.
Well, especially when they start going young, and that is the biggest thing. And you know, you start looking at where the club is right now and what Bob Melvin is trying to do with the club as far as the youth.
Cano has it. He's going to take it himself. He flips to first, and Simeon hits into the 4-3 double play. So 2 outs here in the first inning.
And that's Robbie Cano at his best right there. He could have fed the ball to Marte, but instead he went to the bag, and watch his strength of his arm going underneath. I mean, he goes to the bag, but watch the throw to first base. I mean, that's kind of a no-look, step on the bag, and then throw with the runner Smolinski coming in, but a perfect head-high throw or chest-high throw to Lind at first.
So with 2 outs, here's Valencia. Couple Gold Gloves.
You know, you watch him, and you said it yesterday, where he seems to kind of play the game a certain way. It's kind of relaxed. That's what guys should do. You sign a 10-year contract for that money. It should be like, hey, I'm having fun doing something I love to do. I have a home for 10 years. I don't have to worry about a contract. And the one thing I have to justify the deal. You justified it when you signed it, and they gave it to you. So, you know, justification's over. But I like the way Robbie plays. I mean, it's just that casual. Sometimes, you know, people say, oh, you got to play harder, play harder. Well, he plays hard.
Yeah, what is well what does that mean?
Yeah.
You got to play harder.
Yeah.
You know, I never.
You got to fake it.
Somebody needs to give me a definition of what that means. To me, you know, taking a walk and sprinting to first base, that's not playing hard.
No, it's not.
You know, sprinting out to your position in between innings, that's not playing hard. You know, I think that's an easy term to throw out there, or a phrase. Hey, he needs to play harder. But what does that mean? I'd rather have a guy play smarter.
Well, play smart. And really, if you play the way it seems that Robbie Cano plays, it's that I'm very confident in my ability, and I'm going to do my job and do it the way I've done it my whole career, which is pretty good.
Give me one of those guys. That's right. No score after 1 from the Coliseum. brought to you by AAA. Get a free A's Stadium blanket with any new AAA membership. Visit a participating AAA branch today. Restrictions apply. Rest of flags at half-mast today is remembrance of 15-year anniversary of what happened on September 11, 2001. In fact, Major League Baseball clubs, players, and on-field personnel honoring baseball today. Unified stance with the "We Shall Not Forget."
And you cannot forget what the first responders did. I heard something this morning that sounded great. Well, what people, you always find out the people who run in or the people running out, and those first responders ran in to those Twin Towers.
Yep.
And
amazing.
It is amazing. And to think, sadly, the people who lost their lives and the families of those who lost their lives will, of course, never ever forget. And the world has changed since the last 15 years.
So Major League Baseball observing today, September 11th, as a National Day of Service and Remembrance. So the base jewels will be used for every game today in every ballpark. Two and one the count to Nelson Cruz. Good fastball, 2-2. Also, look at the lower half of the lineup card. See the kind of the background on the card. So nicely done by Major League Baseball and all the teams and the players.
Steve Lucinich providing the flags to put on the side of the caps for this day.
Good fastball on 3-2. So Alcantara coming right at Nelson Cruz. Back-to-back strikeouts for the young right-hander.
How about that? A 3-2 change up to Cano to strike him out, and a blazing fastball 3-2 to get Cruz.
Batting in the fifth position.
All right, today's Cold Hard Facts brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light. Kyle Seager, Corey Seager. Of course, Corey, the star shortstop for the Dodgers. Kyle with 28 home runs, Corey with 25. First brothers in Major League history to each hit 25 or more home runs in the same season. That's pretty cool.
That's great.
They'll do it more than once, too. I don't think there's any question about that. They're both young. So that means the Seager family, they got a favorite team in the National League and a favorite team in the American League. So they got it covered.
And I would have to think that at dinner table, and you got the Seagers there, you got some proud parents, too.
I would think. 2-0 to Kyle Seager. He drives this one to left field. Smolinski back. Circles underneath it, and he's got it for out number 2.
Now for Alcantara following Cotton, who did a great job at his Major League debut Wednesday. And now Alcantara probably taking that deep breath and say, this is a whole different day today. And he is proving that because he just retired 3 batters. He retired 5 in a row, but the 3 he just retired, pretty special. Mr. Cotton, who looking forward to his next start. And we will look forward to having him on Comcast Sportsnet California when he makes the start in Kansas City.
I think the A's have made it official yet who is actually going to start in Kansas City. Detweiler, I think, is for sure on Monday.
Well, if they go in order, you figure it would not be Mingden or Graveman, or
they want to make sure Sean Manaea is healthy, and I would think he would get one of those starts in Kansas City.
Evidently he is, and Bob Melvin talked about how he was happy with his side work yesterday, which would put him in line. And with the off day on Thursday, because it was Alcantara, Mingden, Cotton, or no, because Mingden followed Cotton. So Cotton will be there, and you figure Manaea is going to be there as well. One of the starts. Detweiler tomorrow night for sure. He's back in the rotation. He was taken out when Zach Neal was placed in the rotation.
Kendall Graveman probably itching to get back out there. He has not had a lot of tough starts the last 3 months, but yesterday was one of them. 2-2 pitch to Adam Lynn. He hits it high and foul. So the overall numbers: 12 hits and 8 earned runs allowed in 5+ innings. Wash it away and get after him the next time. Very close pitch, and now a full count. Alcantara right around the strike zone today. It's nice to see. So Lynn takes the walk. A 2-out walk.
That was an interesting setup by Stephen Vogt, and it's almost as if to say, you've got a good fastball. Lind is going to be looking fastball. I'm not going to challenge him. He went to the outside corner, off the plate with the pitch, and now he gets Zunino, who is showing his power also. 10 home runs, but it just could have been that he's afraid of Lind challenging him, especially with 2 strikes and 2 outs.
First pitch to Zunino is a strike on the outside corner.
I still think sometimes it's better to start a hitter fresh instead of trying to finish off a hitter and giving him the pitch he wants to hit or he's looking for.
Zunino had a good rip that time, fouled it straight back.
Friday night he almost hit another one, and he did hit one as Daniel Coulomb, the only blemish really in his 2 innings, struck out 4 and just gave up the 1 home run. In the Friday night game, that was a 1-run game. Yesterday, a little bit different story.
0-2 pitch just off the plate. Good teaser pitch on 0-2.
It's Daniel Coulomb, who is showing his ability to come in and get outs with a good curveball.
Lynn, slow runner at first. He's got a very short lead. And that one is belted to left field, and that's hit deep. And the Mariners are going to take a 2-0 lead. Long home run for Mike Zunino. So the 2-out walk to Lind hurts Alcantara.
Well, and the thing that really hurt him was the pitch that he just threw. The first one, you made a great statement, Selman, about the chase cutter slider. But then the 1 and 2, he came back with the same one. Look where he leaves this one. Look, that ball just floated up, and Zunino very strong and did not miss it. So a big comeback for Mike Zunino, who really didn't make the ball club out of spring training and went to the minor leagues because of his lack of hitting. Spectacular catching, but boy, what a change he has been since coming back.
Home run number 197 for the Mariners. That's what they do. They've hit 4 now in this series. Leonis Martin has 14 of those home runs. Hitless in this series, 0 for 4. He did not play yesterday. Ben Gamel was out in center field. Alcantara got the first 2 outs on a strikeout and a fly ball to left field, and a walk and a home run. And that one hooked down the right field line. Could be trouble, and it is. And Leonis Martin will ease into second with a 2-out double. So walk, homer, double after 2 are out.
Well, maybe after getting Cano, Cruz, and Seager, he took too deep of a breath. Because since then he has not retired a batter.
Take a deep breath, but not too deep.
Yeah.
That's right.
Batting in the ninth
Off-speed
position,
pitch to Martin, and down the right field corner with a 2-out double.
Marte.
So double number 14 for Leonis Martin, and now the 9th place hitter steps up, Ketel Marte. First pitch to Marte is a big overhand curve that drops low. Marte at 262. He's got a homer and 29 RBIs. 20 doubles, a couple of triples for his season. Shoots that one to Semien. Backhands and then throws behind the runner, and they're going to get him. Healy flips it to Vogt, and what a play by Marcus Semien. A very heads-up play, and Semien made a nice play, threw behind Martin, and they got him.
Hey fans, it's time for the This Bet's for You Game of Winning. I'm sitting with a score.
Plus, which can be found on Comcast channels 105 and high def channel 780, AT&T channel 1768, and DirecTV channel 698-1. If you can't find CSN Plus, log on to csncalifornia.com or call your local cable operator. The Raiders just won a very exciting game down in New Orleans. They won 35-34. Extremely entertaining game. So good start for the Raiders, and they will be here at the Coliseum next Sunday against the Atlanta Falcons. So they'll have a happy flight back home from the city of New Orleans. Davis, Healy, and Vogt against James Paxton, who has a 2-0 lead thanks to the home run by Mike Zunino. Chris Davis at 246, 35 home runs. So let's go back and watch this play. Really a great play on that, and then a heads-up play by Semien.
Well, you can see Maniac, the third base coach, saying stop, stop, and he was pointing the bag to stay there. And Martin just ran through the stop sign from Acta, but the play by Marcus Semien, first of all, he saved a run by getting to the ball, but then made the most important thing right there. He saved the run and then realized no play at first. Throw to third with Martin aggressively going around the bag. And as a result, got him easily in the rundown.
And that's a base hit to right field. So Chris Davis, he's been struggling some. So he has a leadoff single.
So Marcus Semien is going to his right extremely well. A little slide there. He looked to first to see the play, but nothing there. And then saw very quickly and alertly at third base was Ryan Healy as well, and that's the key. The third base coach, though, Maniac, to look at him, pointing to the back, stop, because he sees that Semien had caught the ball, and Maniac alertly telling him stop, but he didn't. So good play by Marcus Semien and Ryan Healy to be on the bag.
Not only did Maniac tell him to stop, but he told him to stop. He double told him to stop.
That's right.
Hand up and pointing at third base, and Martin it looked like he was looking at him.
Right. But that's why a third base coach is there. And you know, with base runners at times, whenever they decide, he saw the ball probably, maybe he saw it, Martin saw the ball going into the left field. He's going to score. He's going to score easily anyway. But you follow your third base coach, who basically are your eyes when you should be running to the bag and not looking into the play.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Ray, but the signal to where the third base coach, and there's a base hit to right field. So Healy having a good series. If he's pointing at the bag, that means stop at the bag.
That's right. He's pointing. This is as far as you're going to go.
Yeah, stop right there.
Right. Now, I mean, that's and many acted it. Ryan Healy, who has hit home runs to left field, followed his good friend Chris Davis with a base hit to right field as they were shifting him towards second to the left side.
So Healy now 4 hits in the series, and the A's have something going against James Paxton as Stephen Vogt steps out. First pitch to Vogt is a strike with a fastball. Stephen Vogt had .254 with 11 home runs. And that one is grounded to Lynn, who makes a diving play. He can't really get rid of it, but when he does, it's too late and everybody's safe. He was digging for it in his glove.
Oh, couldn't be happy for Stephen Vogt. They're going to check on Lynn now. The trainer's going to go out, but a nice diving effort. But you're right. When he fell down and rolled over, maybe jammed his hand into the ground or something, but very slowly getting up and could not throw quickly enough. Yeah, he's checking his right wrist, so when he caught the ball, that's probably what happened. But it's kind of a slow motion type thing, and I hope he's all right, because it looked like his body fell on his wrist, and maybe that contributed to his not being able to get the ball out of his glove. Right there. So underneath his body fell on him. Yeah, his body fell on his hand. So all the while, Stephen Vogt chugging down the line, and we see outfielders at times dive for the ball. They get their hands turned under and they fall on their hands. So Stephen Vogt with an infield hit. Nice play by Lind to get to the ball. Actually saved a run by knocking the ball down. I hope his wrist is all right.
Now the A's need to capitalize. Bases loaded. Nobody out, and Brett Eibner is the hitter. Eibner playing center field today. It's his second start in center field since coming over to the Athletic. He's made 11 starts in right, 2 in left, and now 2 in center. Ray, I don't think I'm going out on a limb when I say the A's are looking for a center fielder for next year.
Exactly. Yeah, we pointed out the leadoff hitter today. It's, well, the lefty. Joey Wendell's not playing. He'd led off the previous 2 games. Today it's Smolinski again.
Foul back. So now 2-1. On deck is Yonder Alonso. And now 3-1. So Eibner sitting in a great spot. And he misses outside, and the A's get a run. As Chris Davis trots home, Eibner gets his 16th RBI, and it's 2-1.
Mel Stoudemire Jr. maybe to say, you know, your guys just gave you 2 runs with 2 outs, and now you haven't gotten an out in the next inning. So no shutdown inning for Paxton.
So his first walk gets the A's a run. So 3 singles and a walk. And now the A's are looking for something big with Alonso stepping up. Alonso 2 for 8 in the series overall, hitting .249 with 7 home runs. Seager, the third baseman, is shifted over but in. And there's a strike. Middle infielders are back. So is the first baseman, Adam Lind. Chad Pinder will be next. Paxton big curveball. That one is driven towards center. Martin hustling back, squares up. He's got it. Healy will tag. He will head home. Quick throw to third, and Vogt gets there. And this game is tied. So Yonder Alonso with a sacrifice fly to pick up his 47th RBI, scoring Healy.
Driving the ball quite well after falling behind 0-1, but then a good fastball to hit. And I think Stephen Vogt tagged to go to third base. Scoring easily is going to be Healy, but the throw went to third. And from the standpoint of Eibner not following, going to second base, that could have been because the throw was on line and close to the cutoff man. Typically, an outfielder would throw to second to keep the double play in order, but this time Eibner did not go to second, and the throw went to third. Fortunately, Vogt made it.
So here's Chad Pinder. Pinder takes a little bit outside. Again, middle infielders and double play depth. So the Mariners are hoping for a ground ball right at one of those two guys. Seager not even with the bag at third. Pinder shoots it foul. So indeed, the A's have answered back here in the bottom of the second after the Zunino home run. Two and one. A's had scored just a total of 5 runs in the first 2 games in this series. Looking for a big inning here. Pinder lines one foul. So 2-2 the count. For Pinder, 5 hits in 32 at bats so far. Curveball, bounce back to Paxton. He spins, fires to second for one. Cano on to first. Got him. So Paxton maybe glanced toward home and then decided, I'm going to try to get a double play, and he did. So the A's get 2 runs back, and we're tied at 2. California is brought to you by your Bay Area Hyundai dealers. Great deals on amazing cars are going on now at your Hyundai dealer. Visit buyhyundai.com today. 2-2 game. It's the top of the third inning. So Raul Alcantara gave up the Zunino home run, but the A's came right back and got a couple. So he needs a shutdown inning as he faces Aoki, Smith, and Cano. First pitch is in for a strike.
Nice easy delivery from Alcantara with a good fastball, and that makes it kind of the simple part of pitching. Just right over the top. That way you can pull the string on the changeup like he just did. That's what made Jarrell Cotton so good on Wednesday with his over the top delivery and good fastball and changeup.
Fastball a little bit outside. Aoki lined out to first in the first. He's 4 for 10 in the series. He has scored 4 runs, so he's done a nice job out of that leadoff spot. Tough play. Pinder bare hands, and he's not going to throw it, and that's a smart move as Aoki was going to beat it out. Once it got over the pitcher's head, it was going to be a base hit.
And you're right. And sometimes it's better just to put the ball in your pocket. Don't throw, because only bad things can happen. And Aoki really is running out of the box as soon as he hits the ball. And him with a couple of strikes. That's his style. And as we saw Ichiro in the American League for so many years with the Mariners doing the same thing.
So leadoff man aboard. Here's Seth Smith. Well, he's got to watch that big hole on the right side. Aoki has a huge lead at first. Seth Smith's one of those guys that I think he will attempt to go out and hook a ball into that hole.
If you're a left-handed hitter and a runner first base being held, you should make every attempt to roll over and get out in front and pull the ball and just top hand it as much as possible.
2-0 now to Smith with Cano to follow. Smith grounded out to Pinder, who made a very nice play in the first inning. Mariners with 23 hits in the first 2 games of the series. Of course, most of them came in yesterday's blowout win.
Edgar Martinez.
He was happy yesterday, as he should be.
Probably wanted to grab a bat.
The Mariners have been a good offensive team this year, 5th in the league in runs scored.
One of the things Edgar was trying to teach him, one of the best 2-strike hitters in the game when he played. And he could take an inside pitch and either hit it to right field, bring the hands in, and just a quality hitter. I think the only question for him in the Hall of Fame possibility is David Ortiz. If he goes in as strictly as a DH, then it'd be hard to deny Edgar.
Yep.
Because he did play third. David Ortiz played some first, but more than anything, both were DHs.
Two and two now to Seth Smith.
Well, this is what you see and what home plate umpires saw. Will Little, he liked it. Looks like a pretty good pitch. Hey, if Seth Smith is going to pull a ball into the hole, he's going to have to really top hand a pitch outside. Stephen Vogt staying away with everything, it seems. Now he's going to go inside. Oh, I forgot they do that when they're going to throw over. So they can take a look at the runner to see if he's indicating that he's going to be running.
Aoki not going anywhere, and the pitch is low. So now a full count, which could get Aoki going now. Good lead at first. He takes off and the ball's foul back left side. Aoki has decent speed.
Stephen Vogt looking in to see if Bob Melvin wants to throw over, freeze Aoki. You figure he's going to be going again. Just the pitch selection will be by Stephen Vogt.
There he goes. And the ball's low and it pops away. Did he call that a strike?
Late. A late strike.
Well, I thought it was ball 4. Not even in question, but it's called a strike by Will Little.
Well, remember the first pitch of the game, the second pitch of the game that he threw to Smith?
Now batting.
But see if Will Little does anything.
Cano.
See, that's a late call. I mean, now unless Stephen Vogt hurt him, because you always ask, give me a quick call, because I don't want to throw without you telling me that it's going to be strikes. Smith thought it was ball 4. Probably everybody else did too.
I did. So it goes as a strikeout and a stolen base for Aoki. So he's in scoring position for Robinson Cano. Cano takes on the inside corner. Good to be a pitcher right now.
Good to be a pitcher can throw the ball down in the lower part. I mean, ideally, and we always talk about you elevate fastballs, you're going to get hit. Well, if the umpire is going to give you shin high strikes, you better take them. I thought they called the ball, or almost. Because when Simeon broke in, Alcantara almost indicated like he was going to throw to second and then moved his upper body. And it does not take a lot to call a ball. Simeon's going in like a daylight play in behind the runner. Now Alcantara looked back and then stepped off, doesn't get back to his position, or another call time.
That one rolled fair. And Alcantara gets the out on a dangerous hitter. That ball must have went right over the bag.
And it looked like Barksdale put his left hand up and then his right hand.
I think you're right.
Because there was not an initial call, and I thought more than anything, see what Barksdale does, the first base umpire. See the left hand, the left hand went up.
That looked more foul than fair.
Well, evidently initially it was, because he put his hand up to get ready to call it foul, and then scratched his. I'm just going to scratch my neck.
So the runner now at third, and here's Cruz. Nelson Cruz had a good swing and a first pitch fastball at 94. Nice play. Stephen Vogt jersey.
Put the glove back on and get another one.
You never know. Stephen Vogt may have a play here. Turns around, but no. Ball still rattling around. So a quick 0-2 to Nelson Cruz. Cruz struck out on a fastball in the second inning. We'll see if he gets another one. He had a fastball, but it was up and in. So 54 pitches, so quite a few pitches for Alcantara in the early going. That one hit in the air to right field. Valencia backs up, should have a play. He does. Side retired. So Aoki is stranded at third. Bottom of the third coming up. Mariners 2, A's 2.
MLB.com at Bat app. Stay up to the moment, any moment with game day, live game video highlights, StatCast news, and more. Download MLB.com at Bat, the #1 app for live baseball on your phone and your tablet.
Bottom of the third inning. We're tied 2-2. A's Mariners. Mariners won the first 2 games of the series. He's on the year 60 and 81. So we're playing game number 142. A's have a week on the road, a week at home, and then a week on the road, and that's it.
In the next 3 weeks, they have one off day, and that will be at home a week from Thursday.
At least it's at home, right?
Yeah, so that means 20 games remaining, and with the one off day, that's it.
Nice block by Zunino. For the Mariners, they have 19 games left after today. 10 at home, 9 on the road. And they will go to Anaheim after the game today for a 3-game series against the Angels Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. For the A's, 4 in Kansas City, 3 in Texas, back home for Houston and Texas. And then the final week, 3 in Anaheim and 4 in Seattle. So we will see these Mariners the final 4 games of the year. So that's what's left of this 2016 season for the Athletics. Not what we had hoped for, but maybe we got spoiled, huh? In 2012, 13, and 14. Smolinski lines out.
Jake might have swung a ball forward, but a pretty good fastball, hit it hard. It just happened to be at the third baseman Seager, who knows how to play third.
Number 10, Marcus Semien.
So 1 away. Here is Semien. First pitch to Semien, a swing and a miss, swung over top. Semien hit into a 4-3 double play in the first inning.
Double play in each of the first 2 innings for Paxton. I thought your description of the last one, when he thought about home, then realized, oh, I'm supposed to be trying to go for a double play. And that's a reason first and third infield is back for 2. He had a slight hesitation with the runner coming in to score, but got a pretty good guy at second base to turn a double play. You might as well get to him as quickly as you can.
A shot to Cano. It hits the mound, pops up, and Cano grabs it. So that's a very hard hit ball, but Cano had the shift on. He was actually to the left of second base, and you could see that ball hit the mound, and it just popped right up.
Now batting.
That's got to be so frustrating. Wow.
Yeah, he hit that ball hard.
That's a shot up the middle of base hit, and look up and you see a second baseman standing on the shortstop side of the bat. Whoever started those shifts,
I'd like to know the guy.
I'll say Lou Boudreau did it against Ted Williams back in the 40s, but you know, that's a little bit.
Yeah, we can't blame.
No,
we can't blame Lou.
No. I thought what you said yesterday was just mind-boggling. To think that Joe Madden, the Cubs, only what, 345 or something like that? Compared to the Rays, 1,500. Wow.
Well, I think what makes it interesting outside of those numbers is it's just the different philosophy by organizations.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe some believe in it. Obviously, some believe in it more than others. How much does it have to do with personnel? And we're talking about just how many times teams shift. Some teams do it a whole bunch, other teams not that much. I guess personnel may have a little bit to do with it. Post pitch, 96 miles an hour, so 3-2.
It really starts with the guy on the mound with the ball, because if you shift and the pitcher does not throw the ball exactly where it's supposed to be hit, I mean, you can. There's just a lot that factors into it. One factor right now is that Will Little's calling the low strike, and the A's hitters are going after the low fastball from Paxton.
Three-two pitch to Valencia. Hits it hard, but right to the shortstop, Marte. Side retired. So that's a 3-up, 3-down inning for James Paxton, and we are headed to the fourth. Tied 2-2.
Nice round of applause.
Brought to you by the GoPro Grand Prix of Sonoma, Sunday, September 18th at Sonoma Raceway. Get your tickets to the Verizon IndyCar Series season finale at SonomaRaceway.com. Well, as we commemorate the 15th anniversary of 9/11, you saw the police officers on their motorcycles, a whole bunch of them today. So they got a nice round of applause from this crowd. Top of the fourth, and the Mariners will send Seager, Lind, and Zunino to the plate against Raul Alcantara. Flare down the left field line, foul. So Alcantara started the season in Double-A, pitched okay, but then got to Triple-A, and that's where he put it all together. Made 8 starts in Triple-A, was 4-0 with a 1.18 ERA. His numbers in Double-A, 5-6 with a 4.80 ERA. So something kicked in. So maybe he just knew how close he was to the big leagues. But that is the 8 starts with the Nashville Sounds. Overall this year, 3.58 ERA in the minors.
The strikeout to walk ratio is pretty impressive.
1-2 now. Contra, he's 23 years old, but he's been around a while, and his total minor league innings, Ray, including this year's, nearly 600. So that's a fair amount of minor league innings.
Really, it's very good because you're looking at the major league level. You're looking at 200 now as being the benchmark, but minor league level probably 125 to 150. So that's some good time, good experience at the minor league level. Which means that if he did that well at Triple-A, he should feel comfortable about pitching at the major league level. Very close at Triple-A, that is to the big leagues.
This one's hit in the air towards center. Eibner hustling back near the warning track, near the wall, and he makes the catch. So a long out by Kyle Seager. Seager, a couple of fly ball outs today, and that'll bring up Adam Lind.
Now batting, number 26, Adam Lind.
Lind walked with 2 outs in the second inning, then scored on that Zunino home run. First pitch just a touch low. Angels leading the Rangers 2-1 in the 6th inning. Game down in Anaheim. So the Rangers' magic number is 11 to win the division. If you're into that magic number thing, which kind of hard not to be this time of year.
Especially teams that are at the top of the division.
Oh, yeah, you see how close they are, and they're pretty darn close.
A's will play the Rangers back-to-back weekends. There this weekend or next weekend, and then 2 weeks from now here. Hopefully that by the time the A's leave and whoever they're playing a week from Monday, well, the A's are hosting Houston. Those two teams, Houston and the Rangers, have come into Oakland, and all those games back to the Midwest. Central time zone, 2 hours difference. Going the wrong direction from their standpoint.
Yeah, the Rangers will be in Houston Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So they will leave Anaheim and head back toward Texas. That one is going to get through into right field for a base hit. So Lind, there's a pretty good opening over there, and he's on base for the 2nd time today.
There's just one more free parking Tuesday driven by Chevy this season, when the A's play host to the Houston Astros on Tuesday, September the 20th. That's a week from Tuesday. All fans park for free, and limited Plaza Reserve tickets are available for just $5. You can purchase online at athletics.com/Tuesday and use promo code Chevy, 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 while supplies last. From Tuesday, Houston Astros in town. Free parking Tuesday.
Zunino sitting on another fastball. He had a good swing.
Well, the great Gary Hughes, the scout, longtime scout, now with the Red Sox, godfather of Mike Zunino. He has to be thrilled, as he's at the yard today, to scout, but also, I'm sure, to watch his godson.
Always good to see Gary.
Yeah, he's a good man.
Zunino's home run in the 2nd was his 11th of the year.
Something happened when he went to the minor leagues, because he's always been a good catcher. People say maybe he was rushed a little bit as far as the hitting's concerned, but maybe Mike Zunino said, hey, remember when the game of catching was about catching and not so much about hitting?
Yeah, don't forget.
So what he did at the minor league level, he's come back, and 11 home runs, and quite an accomplishment for the young man.
2-1 pitch in first strike. Yeah, he was the 3rd player taken in the 2012 draft. And in 2013, he was in the big leagues. And last year was a struggle. 112 games. He struck out 132 times in 350 at bats. And the 2-2 pitch is a good fastball from Alcantara, and he gets his 4th strikeout, 2 outs.
It's funny, on the little cutter slider that he hit for a home run, it's just an easy swing. This one he tried to, maybe swung a little hard, considering just good bad speed, but could not catch up to the hitter from Alcantara.
So with 2 outs, here's Leonys Martin. Martin doubled in the 2nd. Hit it down the right field line. Fastball out over the plate that time. Houston Astros will play tonight. They will be hosting the Cubs in the nationally televised game. Fastball inside. Astros coming into today 2.5 back of the 2nd wild card spot. Again, foul. 2-2 the count. There's still a cluster in that American League wild card. National League wild card a little more cut and dried with Giants, Cardinals, and Mets fighting for 2 spots. Still plenty of work to do to figure out the wild card in the American League. Robinson Cano picks a very lucky Coco Crisp fan. Day's been made. It's all good. Pinder scoops it up. Side retired. So a 1-out single, nothing left. Sunday afternoon at the ballpark. What do? Make a young A's fan happy. Thank you very much, Robinson Cano. 2-2 game.
To give 1st through 8th grade students the chance to earn 2 free tickets to a game, the A's Mathletics Workbook program, which engages students to solve baseball-related equations. For more information, visit athletics.com/mathletics. Baseball-related equations. 2 plus 2.
Yeah.
Is that tough to do? Let's see. Second base plus second base equals 4. A home run. Huh. No, I don't know. I'll leave it up to the Mathletics wizards.
Well, you could do the ERA equation. How about that one? Total earned runs times 9 divided by innings pitched.
That's pretty good.
I wrote it all down to make sure I say it correctly.
All BI does is go to the calculator computer.
Two and 1 the count to Chris Davis. Davis singled and scored in the 2nd inning. Hits that shot. What a play by Marte. Backhand spins around, throws low. Lynn digs it out.
That was a play because you know that when Chris Davis hits the ball, it is a bullet. And if it ever hits the ground, it really becomes an extra bullet because that and Marte into the outfield, and then he probably shook up and had to throw low to see if the guy at first base could do the same thing he did, and Lynn did. That's a great play,
yep.
Considering the way the ball was hit by Chris Davis. Nothing's easy with him.
So 1 out. Here's Healy. Big curveball. Healy had a base hit and scored in that 2nd inning. So he is 4 for 9 in the series. Good curve by Paxton right over top, 1-1. And the Mariners, they still feel, and rightfully so, you have Felix Hernandez, who's very, very good. You have Iwakuma, who's won 15 games. And they're excited about the future because you have Paxton and Taijuan Walker. But you just need a little consistency from those young guys. Walker has not had a real great year, and we've seen him be really good, and then we've seen him really get knocked around. But Walker and Paxton, they have all the tools to both be very, very good big league pitchers, but so far just inconsistent. And Paxton has dealt with the injuries.
One thing the Mariners have done, they've put together a very good offense. So pitchers should realize they can have a team score runs. Just try to hold them down a little bit. It should make it a lot easier to play. You don't have to worry about trying to pitch a shutout every time.
But remember, there was a stretch for 5-6 years where the Mariners offense was just not very good. But the last couple years it has gotten better. She had Cano and Cruz. That makes a big difference. But Seager is coming to his own. This year, the team ERA for Seattle is 4.16. That's 7th in the league, so right around the middle. They're 8th in the league in team fielding. Ray's right, plenty of offense.
The Mariners are hitting as many home runs as they are this season, and hitting a lot of those in their home park at Safeco Field, which the A's will see in the final 4 regular season games. That is a big yard, but they're making it seem small, which is impressive for the type of offense they have.
Yeah, they moved the fences in a couple years ago, but I don't think that's the reason why the home run totals are up. Just look at their lineup. I mean, everybody's hits home runs pretty much in their lineup. Stephen Vogt had a base hit in the 2nd inning. It helped load the bases. Shoots that one foul.
The A's as the right field, we believe in Stephen Vogt crew at it again.
This one's got a chance to be a hit, and it will be a hit for the speedy Stephen Vogt. Again, once it gets past the pitcher, you got a shot.
And Paxton, left-hander, falls a little bit towards the third base side. Doesn't have to be much, but they believed in 2 infield hits. Paxton just 1 step and maybe just enough, and Cano playing deep because 2 strikes. But watch Paxton right there, 1 step, and then by the time he recovers, couldn't get to it. And I would venture to say that we all believe in Stephen Vogt, but we can never figure out mathematically or not when's the last time he got 2 infield hits.
Yeah, well, that's true. Maybe there has never been a time. Well, here's Eibner with 2 outs. Eibner walked with the bases loaded to pick up an RBI. First pitch is a fastball, a little bit inside. Now Zunino's going to chat. Second pitch, excuse me, so it's 2-0. Paxton, a big fella, 6'4", 220 pounds. Good pitch there, 95, right on the outside corner. One strikeout for Paxton. Quite a few ground ball outs.
He's got 7 already. 2 in each of the first 2 innings. A couple of double plays helped though, and That's another thing. You pitch to contact, you got a pretty good defense. You got Gold Glovers. One at second, one at third. Marte's playing great at shortstop.
Marte has it, and he'll flip to Cano, and they get Vogt at second, side retired. So a hit and a runner left, and we're headed to the fifth, tied at 2. Insurance, banking, and investments tailored for the military community. So that was earlier today, the pregame on-field ceremony. Nicely done. As we continue to commemorate the anniversary of 9/11. 2-2 game. It's the top of the 5th inning between the A's and the Mariners. A small crowd today, 13,610 in the ballpark. First pitch to Ketel Marte is a swinging strike. Marte, Aoki, and Smith here in the 5th inning. Shows bunt, and it hit him in the foot. Do a drag bunt or a push bunt, and he could not get out of the way. And it was very, very much inside.
I got him in the shin, right below the knee. Now Contra goes down, so does Marte. Marte, though, hurt the most. Phillies might have been hurt for a Contra who hit him, just overthrew the fastball a little bit.
Well, that one's going to leave a mark. So the speedy Marte going to hang in there and stay in the game.
Number 8. Nori.
Get down to that part of the leg, it's a lot of bone.
Ooh.
It's the kneecap, the knee right below, and you got the shin bone, and solid.
So here's the top of the order, Nori Aoki, leadoff man aboard. Yeah, bumping it on the edge of a chair is one thing. Getting hit by a 90-mile-an-hour fastball is different. Aoki a line out and a single. Angels leading the Rangers 3-2. It was 2-1, and Texas tied at 2-2, and now the Angels take the lead. That game in the 7th inning. should reach the seats, and it is well back.
Figure if nothing else, the pitch count's going to get Alcantara today. Gets to the 5th inning. We may see some activity starting to get moving around in the bullpen.
26 in the second, 23 in the 4th. Yeah. And nobody's up in the A's bullpen. But you know how they just start to move around a little bit. Not a lot. Full house down there. Alonso has it. Spins, fires to second. Good throw there. Back to first. Double play. The old 3-6-3 double play, and Alonso made it look easy.
He makes a lot of the plays like this look easy. His throw to second is right on the money. So as soon as he catches it, 360 turn and gets back to the bag. Really just a couple of steps as he was near first when he caught it. And very alertly knowing throw to second. That way there's no indecision on the part of the shortstop. If he touches the bag, it has to be a tag play. Contra liked it. Probably Marte liked it too. Get some ice on his shin. But at times you get close to the bag, you think, well, I just tagged the bag. But then to throw to second, he may just touch the bag and throw it back, not knowing if you've touched it or not. So good play by Alonso alertly. Throwing to second and Semien a good throw right back at it.
Yeah, I think touching the bag and then throwing to second, I mean, sometimes yes, but that makes it a more difficult play because you really then have to throw over top the runner.
That exactly. And I think just that requires the shortstop, in this case Semien, to pay attention, see what he does. If he comes up cleanly and throwing without going to the bag, you know that it's going to be a force out, throw it right back.
2-1 the count to Seth Smith. Seth Smith is grounded out and struck out. On the ground to Pinder. Pinder to first, side retired. So 9-pitch inning with a little help from the 3-6-3 double play for Raul Alcantara. 2-2 game as we head to the bottom of the 5th. Blanket with any new AAA membership. Visit a participating AAA branch today. Restrictions apply. 2-2 game. It's the bottom of the 5th inning. Nice breezy fall day. Plenty of sunshine here at the Coliseum. Big swing by Yonder Alonso. also with a sacrifice fly in the second inning. It was the second run for the A's. Driven towards center. Martin had him shifted a little bit toward left center, and that's right where the ball was.
2017 season ticket memberships are on sale right now. Whether you want to renew your membership or join the party, visit athletics.com/2017. Find all the benefits that A's membership has to offer, including early bird incentives, exclusive experiences, half price parking, flexible ticket exchange program, and more. You can even lock in your 2017 seating location right now. Visit athletics.com/2017. Join the party today.
So here's Chad Pinder. First pitch is low. Second pitch is low. 2-0 to Pinder. Pinder hit into a 1-4-3 double play. That was in the second inning. Pinder getting a start at second base today, which is where he has played most of the time. This is his 6th start at second base. He's also made 3 starts at shortstop. That was when Marcus Semien was gone. Enjoying the birth of his first child. Payoff pitch to Pinder. Here it is. And it just missed inside, and it's a 1-out walk.
Paxton's done a pretty good job keeping the ball down in the zone, and that was probably intended. Was that, you know, inside. He's questioning Will Little.
Now batting left fielder.
He thought he had strike 3. He might have.
Walensky.
But how many times do we see and say that home plate umpire was very critical on the pitch inside? I don't even know if they go the actual width of the ball that sometimes they're allowed.
So with a runner aboard and 1 out, top of the order, and Jake Smolinski opened up the bottom of the first with a base hit, and then he lined to third in the third. New first baseman Dae-Ho Lee comes in for Adam Lind. Remember Lind earlier in the game diving for a ball in the second inning. Jammed his wrist a little bit, so Dae-Ho Lee is in the game.
They just played his song here.
That's right, they did it for us.
He's had to be happy. He goes, hey, we're not even in Seattle. They're doing that.
There he is, big Dae-Ho Lee. He's had some big hits against the A's this year.
Too many. I can think of his first home run in Seattle and 2 home runs in the game that Felix pitched when the A's had an 8-4 lead, and Dae-Ho Lee had the game winner.
2-2 now to Smolinski. Smolinski playing left field today. Playing a lot of center field. Semien to follow. Swing and a miss. So Smolinski is heading back to the dugout. That's just the second strikeout for Paxton.
Everything's been down low, and all of a sudden here's an elevated fastball. Smolinski upstairs with it, maybe questioning whether he should have swung at it, but too close to take. But Will Little definitely has been going with the low strike.
Strike call that time on the outside corner to Semien. Skied to left. Aoki fighting that sun just a little bit, and he makes the catch. So the A's get the Pinder walk, nothing else. And when we come back, it'll be Cano, Cruz, and Seager, 2-2 game. CSN California is brought to you by PG&E. Together, building a better California. That is downtown Oakland. Fox Theater. Kind of a landmark in downtown Oakland.
Premier Moneyball was right there, wasn't it?
That's right.
Red carpet, green carpet.
Yeah, stayed away from that. Didn't know what to do.
You were big, man.
No, I would. Yeah, you want to walk down? I was like, what? Where? There? See, that stuff is fine, right? But that's all it takes is one person to yell, "Who are you?" And then that's it. Then it's ruined. Then you're like, you're embarrassed and you don't really want to be there and you just want to leave.
Who are you?
Yeah, who are you? I see Billy Bean. I see Brad Pitt. Who are you? It's like, well, yeah, okay. Actually, you're kind of right. Active hit leaders, Robinson Cano, 7th on the list. Again, active hit leaders, 2,187 hits for Cano. Doesn't have any today. It's a good list.
Yep.
Matt Holliday closing in on 2,000. So you should get that. Good swing there by Robinson Cano. 3rd year of his 10-year contract.
The lasting impression we're going to have of David Ortiz, the Coliseum, was the final game of the series. The A's won in the walk-off, almost no hit, slamming his bat down, striking out.
He did,
yeah. That's the game he wants to finish, and I think for David Ortiz, as he has announced this is his final year, he wants to go to the World Series. He already has three rings, 04, 7, and 13, but I think he'd like to get another one in 16 as he sails off.
Got a shot. Red Sox in first place. Red Sox won today 11-8 over Toronto, so they took 2 out of 3 from the Blue Jays in Toronto. So that's a good series win, and now the Red Sox have a 2-game lead in the East.
So the score right above that, Tampa Bay Rays winning again over the Yankees.
And that one hooked down the right field line, but foul. And the Red Sox will get ready to host the Baltimore Orioles. So that's a big series. There's a couple big series in that AL East really every week now. I mean, it's going to be fun to watch. Yeah, the Yankees, as Ray said, lost 4-2. How about that series? The Yankees will host the Dodgers Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So that's a marquee matchup. There's Ryan Dull.
Yeah, they're saying that Kershaw pitched against the Yankees at the Wednesday game. He pitched Friday.
Yeah, he pitched Friday.
And our good friend Rich Hill, perfecto, for 7 innings last night, came out after 89. Joe Blanton gave up a hit, but Rich Hill got the blister well, and he is pitching great. Happy for him.
Cano bounces one up the middle. Pinder on the backhand, fires to first, and there's the out on Cano. So I think anytime you get Cano, it's a big deal. Gets him leading off the 6th inning.
Well, you just watch these young infielders, and we've seen Joey Wendell, now Pinder at second base, and just making this play. He's got to be thinking, okay, Ron Washington says take a step, backhand, set it up, and throw. And that's exactly what he does. Good play there. Maybe sometimes get in front of it. Might have had a chance, but the ball was hit hard by Cano. That's probably something he's got to work on over the top a little bit more as far as his throw, but he's got the good picking machine at first base and Alonso.
One out for Nelson Cruz. Cruz a strikeout and a fly ball to right field. And there's a base hit. So a hard hit ball between third and short. Cruz has his 5th hit in the series. So he's been a tough out.
It just sounds great coming off his bat. I mean, he is strong. I think he is one guy that you're happy with a shift. He has to base hit. Of course, he hit it through it, but he's so strong and so capable of going to any part of the park, in any park.
So that'll bring up Kyle Seager. Seager has hit a couple of fly balls, one to left, one to center.
Bob Melvin has a lot of confidence in Ryan Dull, and you'd have to think he is ready. If Alcantara gives up another base runner, you'd have to think that Dull would be coming in.
The on-deck hitter is Dae-Ho Lee. And right at 100 pitches in 5 1/3 innings for Alcantara.
He may be getting ready for Lee anyway.
Yep.
Because he is in for the left-handed hitting Lynn, and we hope his wrist is all right, his hand's okay, because you have to figure the early part of the game when he went to the ground, had to have landed on it.
Seager skies one to shallow left. Hustling in is Smolinski. And Smolinski calls off Simeon. So another big out. That's 2.
Confidence builder right here. The skipper has the choice. And it's like, I'm going to let Alcantara get through the inning. After what he went through in his first start Monday, going just 3 innings, if he could get through this 6th inning, the 2-2 lead, try to score a run at the bottom of the 6th for him. He's got to be very, very happy with his performance today. If he can get Lee out, get back to the dugout.
First pitch to Lee is a fastball low.
You know, what's scary about big Dae-Ho Lee when he lifts that front. Look.
Yeah, if he gets one right in the spot.
He transfers all the way on that back foot, and then here it comes. Watch this. He's going to lift it and just go.
Like that.
That's like
line. Smolinski it turns around and it hits at the base of the wall. Here comes Nelson Cruz to third, and he will hold there.
Just like that, and that may be just like that. And here comes Bob Melvin. But he's scary. That's how, I mean, it's like swing hard every time, and he makes contact. Fortunately, top spin, got the foot down, he got all the body behind it, and top spin, fortunately, because that kept it in the park. And Alcantara should get a nice applause as he departs, and he hopes that Ryan Dull can clean up the mess.
So when it's time for change, think Speedy Oil Change and Auto Service, your oil change, tune-up, and repair experts.
Season with their own Oakland athletics team photos presented by Zevia, the zero-calorie soda. Sunday, September the 25th, the final home game of the regular season right here at the Coliseum. That's the A's versus the Rangers game. 10,000 fans go home with a 2016 team photo. It's a perfect souvenir for your home or your office. For information and tickets, head athletics.com/tickets. You know who's in that photo?
Who's that?
Billy Butler.
Yep. Yes, he made the photo, but did not make it through the season. Yep. Just joining us, the A's released Billy Butler earlier today.
Rondo trying to have a quality great. He's already had a great season. Even better if he can get through this. And
so Alcantara pretty good today. 7 hits, 2 runs, and 5 2/3. Obviously a huge improvement over Monday. So he's trying to settle in a little bit. 2-1 now to Mike Zunino. So big point in the game here in the top of the 6th inning. 2nd and 3rd, 2 outs. Zunino a home run and a strikeout. Fastball, he chased it.
Well, it's just a tumbler here, just not the sharp breaking ball, and left it in the middle of the plate, and Zunino crushed it. Not a cheapie. Very deep in left field. But the good hard fastball up in the zone. See if Dole tries to do it again. He just got one by him.
And this one's popped up. Healy waiting, fighting it, and he makes the catch. So Ryan Healy hangs with it, and the Mariners strand a couple of runners in scoring position. Bottom of the 6th coming up. To Derek Barton had 2 hits in the same inning at Target Field in Minnesota. Both singles and homers. Barton has a couple singles. The A's won that game 18-3. Again, that was September 11th, 2013. That's the vote home run. So a big offensive performance by the Athletics a couple years back. 2-2 game. It's the bottom of the 6th inning. Valencia to lead it off. Valencia, Davis, and Healy against James Paxton. Could be the last inning for Paxton as well. He's sitting at 89 pitches, and things are starting to move around in that bullpen for the Mariners as our old friend Evan Scribner starts to throw.
See that he's healthy and back on the active roster. As you've seen him throughout the summer, but he's been on the DL. But Ryan Cook on the 60. I guess.
Yeah, both Cook and Scribner spent a lot of time on the disabled list this year.
So Pat Venditti this morning, the guy that throws both right and left.
He's will always be remembered. He was not here a very long time.
Yeah. That's a great sign there. It's got to make him proud.
We were pulling for him. Yeah. Nice guy.
Yeah. Said he'd like Toronto, and that's where he went from the Athletics. He had a pretty good team there as well with the Blue Jays, but a good one now with the Mariners.
2-2 breaking ball, and Valencia swings over top. Strikeout number 3 for Paxton. He's got Valencia a couple times.
Well, there's the curveball and keeping it down in the zone. It's pretty impressive for the left-hander. Does not throw it a lot by comparison to his fastball, but when he throws it, it's a good one.
So with 1 out, here's Davis. Davis up the middle. Right there is Cano. And Davis is retired. 2 outs. Davis has hit the ball pretty hard all 3 times. So with 2 outs, greater coverage of baseball. And it is brought to you by T-Mobile. Talking about Ryan Healy in his season. First 26 games, 222 average. Last 25, 355. So, hey, the young man's not getting tired. Which is something that happens with minor league guys.
You know, and Kai, I think, too, and that's a good point, because even Ryan Dahl last September had a very good September and even better in his full season this year. But I think for Ryan Healy, as he commented about seeing teams and pitchers for the second time, and really makes a big difference in what Wendell and Pinder going through as guys seeing teams and pitchers for the first time. At least Ryan Healy, he's a proven veteran compared to those guys.
Well, the A's have played 53 games since the All-Star break, and Ryan Healy has started 52 of them. And when you're a rookie, you've never played in September before.
Right. Yeah, Cap also, he was off the radar earlier.
Martin grabs it, and Paxton has a very good inning. He's retired 5 in a row. And as we go to the 7th inning, we are tied at 2. And on this Patriot Day, USAA honors those who have served and all of our service members at home and abroad.
At that premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details. There's a lot of noise with the local police. I mean, they had their motorcycles on the warning track and on this 9/11, 2016. Okay, by the way, we need to find out the injury report on Ricky the Big Head Hall of Fame race. He has been out for a couple of times.
Yeah, maybe they're going with that hockey thing. Upper body injury, lower body injury, where they're not really being specific.
Yeah, you got to figure it out, because that's strange to only have 2 running a race.
It's 3rd less fun, I know that. Yeah, I don't know. Have not heard anything.
No, just haven't seen him out there. Maybe he's won too many races and they decided to shut him down for a little while to give the other guys a chance.
Even things out. Martin, Marte, and Aoki. So the speed guys for the Mariners here in the 7th inning against Ryan Dahl. High pop up on the infield. Everybody's shading their eyes. And Simeon handling the breeze as well. So we've seen on some of those high pop-ups today where there is a pretty good breeze up there.
Well, Ryan Healy, a very good play to end the 6th inning on the high pop-up with the wind blowing in the view quarters, and of course the good old U.S. American flag at half-staff today in honor of those 9/11. You know, Bob Melvin, since spring training, has said about Ryan Doe that he has been so confident of him coming into a game with runners on base, and he did it again last inning, leaving 2 on, and Alcantara leaves with a no decision. But Ryan Doe, spectacular season, and trying to finish it off the last 3 weeks.
Pinder throws, and it's going to get past Alonso, and it's going to go into the dugout. Vogt made a heck of an effort, but just could not quite knock it down. So it's going to go as a base hit and an error.
Well, you run so hard, and Pinder, a good play, but again throwing, and this time to the left of Alonso, who tried to catch it, almost had it in his glove, and if he does, he's probably out. But Stephen Vogt backing up the dive right there off the glove, just could not get it.
Oh, it ends up being a costly 90 feet. Stephen Vogt made a heck of an effort. Just tipped off his glove, and once it goes in that dugout, well, then it's the automatic extra base.
Now, Bob Melvin started out. Just wonder with the player. Now he's going to be checking to see if the lefty's ready. Sean Doolittle.
So Aoki is the hitter. So Bob Melvin, he has made the call, and when it's time for change, think Speedy Oil Change and Auto Service, your oil change, tune-up, and repair experts.
A's Baseball on CSN California is brought to you by Toyota, the full-line automaker with the longest-lasting vehicles in America. Toyota, let's go places. And by Xfinity. X1 from Xfinity will change the way you experience TV.
So it's a 2-2 game, top of the 7th inning. Sean Doolittle comes in with go-ahead run at second base and 1 out. With 3 left-handed hitters coming up, Aoki, Smith, Cano, good spot for Doolittle. His 38th appearance overall and his 3rd appearance since coming back from the disabled list. Facing Nori Aoki, who is 1 for 3. Swing and a miss on a high fastball. These are the at bats where he's tough because he's tough to strike out. And Doolittle, a very hard thrower, and he's a strikeout guy. So Marte, lots of speed at second base.
Well, the one thing for hitters, they know pretty much that what they're going to get from Sean Doolittle. You see some guys come in and throw mid to upper 90s with a fastball, a slider, they'll show it on, but not high percentage of times they will throw that pitch.
Franklin Gutierrez has come out now into the on deck circle, so the Mariners will send a right-handed hitter up there next. Aoki now behind in the count 0-2. Dahl ends up going 2/3 of an inning. Gives up the one hit. That was Marte at second base. Marte has 11 steals. Simeon snuck in behind. A play was on, and somebody missed it.
Yeah.
And Simeon left the shortstop spot wide open.
And one thing you don't want to do, especially as a pitcher, if once Simeon vacates his position, then he's got to hurry to get back once he saw Doolittle throw to the plate. And if there's no play, usually the pitcher steps off, allowing the infielder to get back to the normal position.
Aoki toward right center. Valencia on the move, and Valencia makes the catch. So Aoki put a little scare into everybody for a moment there, but the ball hung up.
And it sounded like it may have got him a little bit towards the trademark. Did not hit it so crisply that it could or did go into the gap in right center. Valencia, good jump, and that ball is, if anything, it's slicing away from him. It's not hooking back to him. So good play by Valencia to hustle to get to the ball.
So here's Gutierrez hitting for Seth Smith. So Scott Service wants to get a right-handed bat in there against Doolittle. Gutierrez at 254. He's got 14 home runs. He's 5 for 25 as a pinch hitter. And he got a fastball that he liked. Fouled it back. Home run leaders in the American League versus left-handers. Those are the leaders in the entire American League, and they're all Mariners.
There's two lefties. Now Kyle Seager we know, but Robbie Cano, and that may be the reason they said let's pitch to Gutierrez, because in the on deck circle is one of those with 11, Robinson Cano.
Yeah, you don't want to see Cano in this inning. 0-1 pitch, another fastball, and Gutierrez had a pretty good rip at that one, and now it's 0-2.
Now Sean needs to elevate one of the fastballs. Those have been down in the zone, which have been pretty good hitting pitches, hittable pitches for Gutierrez. He's not been able to get around on him, but if Sean now can elevate, he may get him to chase a pitch out of the strike zone and head back to the dugout. It's a pitch that I always believed that if he could throw it consistently in the chest area or even head high, guys cannot catch up to it.
He tried to go upstairs, but it was outside at 95 miles an hour. Swing and a miss, and he got him with the fastball. So Doolittle does his job, and the tying run is stranded at second base. So we have reached the 7th inning stretch. This ball game is tied at 2-2, and we're going to keep it right here at the Coliseum. for this rendition of God Bless America.
Ladies and gentlemen, please direct your attention to the home plate area where Sierra Lunger will be performing God Bless America.
God bless America, land that I love, stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above, from the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans wide with foam. God bless America, my home sweet home. God bless America, my home sweet home.
Sierra Lunger. Thank you, Sierra. Very nicely done.
On this date in 2009, Derek Jeter, he becomes the Yankees' all-time hit leader with career hit number 2,722. He breaks Lou Gehrig's record. It was a base hit against the Orioles. First, Jeter was not finished as he shot right past 3,000 hits, well past 3,000 hits. Settled in nicely into the top 10. He is 6th on the all-time hit list, 3,465. That's a good list.
That's a great list, yeah. 3,000 was a home run at the stadium, yeah, against the Tampa Bay Rays.
So Evan Scribner comes in when it's time for change. Think Speedy Oil Change and Auto Service, your oil change, tune-up, and repair experts. And he faces Stephen Vogt, who hits one in the air toward right. It's a new right fielder out there. That's Guillermo Heredia. And he makes the catch. So Heredia comes in. So Smith was out there. Gutierrez hit for Smith. And Heredia.
Now batting, center fielder.
And Stephen Vogt swung in a curveball that, of course, having caught Evan Scribner, he knows that's his signature pitch. He loves to throw the 12-6 curveball, which he has a very good one. He has a cut fastball also that he's added, and a good fastball. And for him, he's healthy. And that's the biggest key. Stephen Vogt, though, drove the curveball about ankle high, almost hit the wall with it.
Gone but not forgotten, Ray. Would that be the best way to put that?
Listen, these fans, they're the best. They create these signs and they pack them away when somebody leaves, but boy, they can't wait for them to come back, and here they come out again.
Evan Scribner with the A's in 2012, 2013, 14, and 15.
There they are.
Scribner's best season, at least statistically, 2012, he went 2-0 with a 2.55 ERA in 30 games. Last year, he actually pitched in 54 games for the A's. And that one's hit high and deep to left field. And that one is off the wall. Eibner hustles into second. He's going to try for third as the ball rolls all the way back toward the infield, and he has a one-out triple. So Eibner with the first triple of his career, and Aoki just got too close to the wall. And it ended up bouncing straight back toward the infield, and Eibner with pretty good speed ends up at third.
Well, then Martin did not move from center field. And I don't think he moved at all. He's a right center, but he went back to wall, and as far as the ball came back towards the infield with nobody backing up, he thought he got it. But hey, that wind is blowing in. This Coliseum, you've got to run because it is blowing hard, and it was high, and the wind knocked it down. And he might have had an inside the park home run had he been running from the get-go.
I agree.
Because he got into third base easily, and really the shot of him trotting to first base, and go ask Hall of Famer Frank Thomas. He crushed the ball and he got a double and said, what? Everybody said, welcome to the Coliseum. That wind blows in from the view quarter. It can change a lot.
Joey Wendell is going to hit for Pinder, but you know what? I don't care who you are, but if you're a rookie,
yeah, that's true.
You need to be running.
Yeah. I mean, it's nice if it goes out, but you can also shut it down at second base. If you're running hard to second base, it's a home run. But at least the A's have an opportunity. They had an opportunity in the second inning, a similar situation, exact as a matter of fact. One out, first and third, and that was a double play turn. Paxton to Cano to first.
So Alonso intentionally walks. Now first and third. A pretty nice opportunity for the A's to see if they can take the lead. So Joey Wendell steps in a big moment. He's got 7 hits in 26 at bats. All 7 hits are singles. He's knocked in 5 runs.
2 of the biggest against Michael Morin of the Angels on a changeup. He had a past first baseman.
First pitch hard to Seager. They're going to try to turn 2 out at second on to first, double play.
Wow.
A 5-6-3 double play. That's right, 5-6-3, and the A's do not score.
Is it a plane? No, it's a superhero fireworks presented by AAA. These post-game fireworks will be sent to some of the best magic, or it's magic, it's music from superhero movies. Dress as your favorite characters and enjoy the show from the outfield grass as long as space is available. Enjoy an A's game and then superhero fireworks right after. See your tickets at athletics.com/fireworks. September the 23rd, Friday night. Final weekend of baseball here at the Coliseum.
So when it's time for change, think Speedy Oil Change and Auto Service, your oil change, tune-up, and repair experts. Liam Hendricks comes in, and his first pitch is driven to left field. Smolinski's back, circling under it, and he reaches down and makes the catch on a low backhand play.
Well, I didn't know if he's going to catch the baseball or the wrapper, because the wrapper the wrapper popped up. But what a play, because he had to go and then backhand, and that is a great recovery because the ball was slicing. The wind again perhaps knocked it down, and that wind is blowing hard. Robinson Cano going opposite field, but a nice play by Smolinski.
So 1 out. Here's Nelson Cruz. Cruz fouls it straight back. Joey Wendell remains in the game at second base. So good opportunity for the A's, but they do not score. And you can be frustrated that they did not score, but in thinking about that last play, the Mariners did a lot of things right.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did.
I mean, that was a very impressive double play to end the inning.
Wendell trying to go to the opposite field this time, though, maybe because the runner at third, Seager was not off, but it was the shortstop, Marte, covering. So Seager had to know that it was going to be Marte. Cano could not get to it and completed the double play, the third turn by the Mariners this afternoon.
And I think that the thing that jumped out, Ray, was Seager. If he hesitates at all or looks to the runner and says, well, I'm just going to get the out at home, which he could have done. If he does that at all and then tries to turn the double play, they don't get the double play. He was going for a double play no matter what, unless he maybe had a move to his left or right. Line drive, and that's a base hit. So Nelson Cruz has his second hit. But watch Seager. I mean, he never even looks at the runner because he knows the ball's hit hard enough and he's got a chance to turn it.
And that's what you do. Backhand the ball and then turn to second base, knowing that it was going to be Marte covering, and they turned the 5-6-3 double play.
Now batting, number 15.
And if it's a slower hit ball, then he goes to the plate. But then at that point, maybe Eibner doesn't run. But he's running, maybe trying to draw the throw, figured it's going to be a double play. And it was, unfortunately.
So here is Seager with Cruz at first. 1 out here in the 8th. First pitch is outside. Indians won today 7-1 over the Twins. Corey Kluber got his 16th win. So they win and the Tigers lose. Orioles beat the Tigers 3-1. Tillman over Verlander. So the Indians closing in. They now have a 7-game lead in the Central. If I said Indians are closing in to anybody in Cleveland, though, they would be mad at me, because that would be a possible jinx. But they're rolling along. 83rd win today for the Indians. Seager could not hold up that time, and it's strike 2-1.
Well, you have to wonder, on Friday night, Seager was playing third and well off the line. This, though, on this swing, tried to hold up, did not, could not. But I don't know if it's the fact that it's first and third, because Joey Wendell hit a ball past him on Friday night, just inside the line. This time playing closer, similar ball hit, though it was right to Seager. So maybe the defense changed a little bit, considering the way Wendell was hitting the ball, especially in the first 2 games. Nelly Cruz, though, hits him hard wherever he hits him.
Seager Like it was off the end of the bat a little bit as Smolinski comes in and over and makes the catch. So Seager 0 for 4. He's hit 4 fly balls today.
Now batting.
2 outs. Here's Daeho Lee.
The good thing about the 4 that he's hit, 3 have gone to left field, which would be opposite field for him. And while he might have the power, they've stayed in the park. Stephen Vogt talking to Hendricks, maybe just because of who's hitting right now, the big man.
Daeho Lee, his second at bat. Came in for Adam Lind in the 6th inning. Lind hurt his wrist a little bit earlier in the game diving for a ball. Lee immediately doubled. No swing. Red Sox beat the Blue Jays 11-8. We told you that earlier. Home runs for Boston: Ortiz, Ramirez, and Bradley. Could have went.
Could definitely have gone. Yep. I'd say down and away to this guy would be the best way to approach him, just with the way he aggressively goes after everything.
It's almost like if you put a pitch where he's looking for, you're in trouble. I think you can pitch to him, you can get him out. He's probably got some holes.
Anything up to Daeho Lee probably is going to be hit hard.
And that one is driven right center field. Eibner on the move. Eibner goes into a slide and he caught it. So Eibner saved a run, and that would have given the Mariners the lead if it gets down. So great play by Eibner to end the top of the 8th inning.
Is presented by authority of the Oakland Athletics and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Athletics Investment Group, LLC.
Game summary brought to you by your local Toyota dealers. 2-9-0 for the Mariners, 2-6-1 for the A's. Paxton and Alcantara both pretty good today. Zunino with the only home run in the game. Mariners scored 2 in the top of the first, or top of the second, excuse me. The A's scored 2 in the bottom of the second. That's the only runs in the game. So Steve Cishek comes in. And he's going to face Smolinski, Simeon, and Valencia. So 3 right-handed hitters. That's kind of the spot you'd like to have Cishek in if you're the Mariners. He's tough on right-handed hitters.
Sure, right-handed hitter facing him, pick up the slider, spin, let it go. That's a hard sinker down and in.
Marte gets there, but Smolinski with a head first dive has a leadoff base hit here in the bottom of the 8th inning.
That's pretty impressive slide by Smolinski. He actually was low to the ground and kind of slid. Ivor, though, he made a nice sliding catch. This ball by Deoli was heading and slicing away from him towards the gap. Going over to back up with Valencia. Didn't have to, as Eibner made a great play into left or right center field on a slicing drive off the bat of Deoli. He's going back home on this next trip, home being Kansas City, where they have a very large outfield. And if he plays like that, plays against them in that massive outfield area, will cover a lot of ground.
Simeon shows bunt, and the pitch is outside. Simeon is 0 for 3 today. In the series, he's been quiet, 0 for 10. And he bunts this one nicely. Cishek picks it up, juggles, throws, and they just got him. A little juggle by Cishek. Could not get a good grip on it. So Marcus Simeon, nicely executed sacrifice bunt, and now the go-ahead runs at second base.
Well, it's not an easy guy to bunt either with his drop down, but the bobble almost cost Cishek, and for Marcus Simeon running down the line properly, and I say properly inside the running path, and got the job done and almost got a little bit more out of it. A little soft toss by Cishek on this football Sunday. A little toss over the middle.
Sure, that's right. Over the linebackers. Valencia turns out of the way, and the slider catches the inside corner. Valencia is 0 for 3. He's 0 for 5 in the series. That's the pitch that's tough. If Cishek can put it there, he's very, very difficult. Cishek pitched on Friday night and had a good inning, 3 up, 3 down, with a couple of strikeouts. And the 0-2 pitch, and that one, he just kept moving it out a little bit, and Valencia could not lay off. So Valencia 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts today.
Well, this slider, again, if you could pick up the spin there, you know it's not going to be a strike. And, you know, you kind of commit. You can't reach it.
Number 2.
That's as good a change slider you're ever going to see from a pitcher.
Well, the first one hung on the inside.
Yeah.
Called a strike. The second one was right on the outside corner, 0-2, and then he went off the plate a couple feet. Chris Davis fouls the first one back. Ryan Madsen is up. Madsen's going to pitch the 9th inning no matter what. If the A's were to take the lead or it was tied. And that one missed somewhere. 1-1. So Cishek shows that fastball, which kind of sinks into the right-handed hitter.
I would think that his fastball inside the right-handers is strictly a waste pitch, show pitch.
Yeah, and maybe if you get a call on a strike, hey, better yet. That last pitch was close, but called ball. Wait, what was that? What did I just see? If you didn't know, that's what you'd be saying. In the air towards center, Martin hustling back, shading his eyes, and on the warning track, he makes the catch. So the A's got the leadoff man aboard, could not do anything with it. We are on to the ninth. It's a 2-2 game. And it's Sportsnet Central this evening. Got two shots at it, 6 and 10:30. It's on CSN Bay Area. Highlights from this game, and the Raiders had a big win today in New Orleans, 35-34. All the highlights from busy week 1 around the NFL. Kelly Johnson and Henry Wolford will host. So you don't want to miss that. And there's a shot headed for the left field corner fair by Mike Zunino. Zunino rounds first, hustles for second, and the Mariners have a leadoff double here in the top of the 9th inning.
It's going to be a pinch runner for him, but Zunino, a home run, his first at bat. Then a strikeout and a high pop up with a couple of runners on.
That's Ben Gamble, the pinch runner.
Your attention, please, for Seattle.
Ryan Madsen, one pitch, and he's got a runner at second. Overall, 58th appearance for Madsen, 2.97 ERA.
Now batting, number 12, Leonis Martin.
They're expecting a bunt. He probably is going to bunt. That is Martin, who has speed. You have to be concerned about him if he gets the ball down.
And that one bends him back out of the way. He was able to pull the bat back. Yeah, again, we talk about this a lot, Ray. It's not only the offensive execution on the sacrifice bunt, but it's the defensive execution. Ketel Marte is the on-deck hitter. Corner infielders will crash. Again inside.
Well, this is what happened up in Safeco Field, and Leonis Martin, a walk-off.
I tried so hard to forget about that.
Yeah, no. I did actually until
Did you?
Dallaire just reminded us. I wouldn't have shown it, but what the heck.
It's our producer Dallaire Leweur's fault for reminding us of that. So 1-2 now.
Well, the old saying about the closer's job, it's a thankless, almost like a third base coach. You're supposed to do it, and you don't. It's the only time they talk about it. But Ryan Madsen's had a very good season. Right now, a huge challenge because Martin tried to bunt twice. Now, see if he can strike him out with a good changeup.
Two pitches inside, 2-2. Two and two to Martin. Not bunting, and he fouls it.
Now for Scott Service, a couple of bunt attempts by his hitter. Service has to be thinking that at least he's a left-handed hitter trying to pull the ball to the right side, which would be the alternative to sacrificing. Madsen trying to prevent him from doing that.
And there's a line drive base hit right field. Here comes Zunino, and they're going to hold him. Or Gamble, excuse me, the pinch runner. Now the ball rolls up the line, and Vogt has to hustle after it. So Ben Gamble, the pinch runner, he was running hard. And Manny Acta, he waited as long as he could before he put up the stop sign.
Now they threw him a changeup, but he left it up, and that is a pretty good pitch to hit for a hitter who's, I mean, give Martin credit because he hooked the ball. Top hand was exactly what he was trying to do, and Valencia got the ball back in quickly. Gamble had to hold up just momentarily to make sure the ball was hit into right field. But Manny Acta did not want to take a chance, especially with nobody out.
So full meeting at the mound.
That's your thankless job as third base coach, man.
Yeah. I mean, he really did a good job.
Yeah.
He waited and waited, and watch how late he puts up the stop sign, which that's what you want to do.
It's like Ron Washington say, come down the line as far as you can to instruct the runner. Former manager Manny Acta of Washington and Cleveland. Now third base coach. Former manager Ron Washington of the Rangers. Now third base coach for the A's.
Also, too, Ray, just the angle that you're looking at as the third base coach. A base hit to left field is a significantly different angle that you're looking than a base hit to right field.
Exactly.
Here's Marte, first and third, nobody out. And the ball's hit into center field for a base hit. And the Mariners have the lead here in the top of the 9th inning. Double, single, single. So Marte hit it hard right up the middle. So Marte is 3 for 3 with a hit by pitch.
Get a pitch that left up about thigh high. And just easily hit up the middle. Melvin had gone out to talk to the infield of the pitcher, but perhaps about a play on a possible attempted steal, but nothing there. Now Aoki, a bunt attempt again, probably.
Not bunting, and the first pitch is a strike. That's a bit of a surprise.
Only thing could be that maybe Scott Service thinks he's a tough man to double up.
Yeah.
And by letting him swing away at least the first opportunity, we'll see if it changes.
He's got 4 sacrifice bunts this year. Now he shows bunt. And back to Madsen. Madsen drops it, picks it up, throws to first, and they just get Aoki. Madsen had visions of going to third, and he may have had a play there, but once he juggled it, he had to kind of regroup and just get the out at first.
Yeah, he definitely would have had him at third. Bunted hard by Aoki. And it's one of those trying to maybe think a little bit too quickly about what you're going to do. He's trying to spin and catch at the same time, and at least alertly threw to first to get the out with Aoki. But he definitely had him. Healy was going to third, and Ron Madsen was planning to catch 360 and throw to third, but could not get it done. So to go to sacrifice.
So this is Heredia, his first at bat today. Pops one foul. Guillermo Heredia hitting .227. He's got a homer and 10 RBIs. A little bit low. Pretty good take by Heredia.
Pitch has been called pretty much all day, but not that time.
Foul back. That was a fastball a little up. So now Madsen can go for the strikeout, which he desperately needs. Robinson Cano is the on-deck hitter. Diaz warming up in the bullpen. No surprise there. Wasn't as far inside as Heredia made it look. Setting up inside, and the pitch comes inside, and Heredia pulls it foul. The Mariners have taken the lead here in the top of the 9th inning. It's been a good ball game. Two pitch, and Heredia lays off. That's a pretty good take.
Well, the changeup was down, and I think the A's, Madsen, thinking maybe about Robinson Cano in the on-deck circle, if they could get this hitter out and take the chance on picking your poison. Well, the intention to walk that man to get to Cruz, but first and foremost, it's Heredia, and he's definitely taken some pretty good changeups.
Lots of speed on the bases for the Mariners, about as much as they can have. 3-2 pitch, loop down the right field line. It's going to go foul. So we'll do the 3-2 count again, and again, Vogt and Matson checking in with each other. A's will have Healy, Vogt, and Eibner in the bottom of the 9th inning. Hit hard to Healy. He was coming home, and Martine's going to be in a rundown. And Martine is tagged out, but he stayed in it long enough for Heredia to get to second. You could see Martine kind of signaling Heredia, hurry up. But the A's get the big out.
Healy back down to catcher, and there's where Martine is pointing him to go, and Stephen Vogt tagging both just in case. But Healy, a good throw to Stephen Vogt, so they could get the runner, and that was simply him going on contact, which what he's happy about, Martine, is that the same situation is created because of him being in a rundown.
And probably contact play, right? Where you're going no matter what.
Yeah, he went on contact and takes a good throw, and Healy has made a good throw a couple of times now.
So here is Cano. A huge out to get. Cano taken all the way, and it's a first pitch strike. Robinson Cano is 0 for 4 today.
Well, this really comes down to matchups, and the matchups of Matson against Cano versus the guy in the on-deck circle and Nelson Cruz. That was Daniel Coulombe loosening.
Cano got a high pitch, fouls it back. Cano is 1 for 10 in this series. A couple of ground outs today, a strikeout and a fly out. He's 0 for 4 against Madsen. Cano lays off the high pitch. So a 21 pitch inning for Ryan Madsen and a run in.
Just to confirm, Stephen Vogt's going to go out. This is Stephen Vogt, who has caught a couple of these games, 2 of the 3, and there's a pretty good idea of what Cano has done in this series.
Foul back to the screen. Well, kind of up and out over the plate to Cano. Colon still warming up. Diaz, the Mariners closer, is warmed up. He is just standing on the bullpen mound now. Eibner in, waiting. He's got it, side retired. So a run on 3 hits. Mariners take the lead. Bottom of the 9th coming up. Seattle 3 and the A's 2. So the Mariners with a 3-2 lead over the Athletics. Athletics are going to need some 9th inning heroics to avoid being swept here at home by Seattle. Mariners, on the other hand, are looking for their 5th consecutive win. Here's the closer, Edwin Diaz. 14 saves in 15 opportunities, and he's going to face Healy, Vogt, and Eibner.
Well, the bullpen of the Mariners did the job Friday night, starting with Altavilla, 1 out in the 7th, and then Cishek 3 up, 3 down. They retired 7 consecutive, finished off by Diaz, and Cishek the 8th today. Diaz the 9th, and he's trying to do something against this guy, and they have not done it yet in this season.
First pitch, slider, and Healy missed it. Since the 1st of August, Diaz leads the majors in saves. He's got the lights out stuff. And now it's 0-2. 85 miles an hour on that pitch.
Now pitching number 39.
Healy is 1 for 3. He singled and scored back in the 2nd inning. That's when the A's scored their 2 runs. Angels beat the Rangers today 3-2. And that's a fastball on the outside corner. Strike 3 call. So Diaz not wasting any pitches as he catches the outside corner and gets Healy looking.
Well, the 2-seam after a couple of sliders, the ball came back according to Will Little. Came back enough to be a strike on the outside corner.
The A's need a base runner here. Stephen Vogt. Vogt is 2 for 3. A couple of singles, 1 in the 2nd and 1 in the 4th. Heredia now in left field, and Ben Gamble now in right field. Chris Iannetta is your catcher. Stephen Vogt hits one high in the air, shallow left. Heredia hustling in, and he's got it. So 2 outs. Told you how the Mariners have played well here at the Coliseum. They're looking for their second road series sweep versus the A's.
Your attention, please.
Go back to 1984, the last time the Mariners did that. They did it to Texas.
Number 12, Max Muncy.
Mariners 1 out away from going 8-1 this year in this ballpark. So the last hope is Max Muncy, pinch hitting for Eibner, and the first pitch is a fastball away.
And one thing Muncy will do, give it good at bat as far as making a pitcher throw strikes, and fortunately for Muncy, Diaz usually does that.
1-1 the count. That one at 97 miles an hour. Eibner, while he was in there, had a bases loaded walk, a ground out, and the triple. He's had the triple with Eibner at third and 1 out in the 7th, and they could not get him home. Muncy can get on. Yonder Alonso will get in at bat. Outside, 3-1. Cano, the second baseman, playing about 10 feet out into the grass. Marte slid over towards second, as is Seager. Outfield shifted the other way, and now it's a full count. We'll be in Kansas City tomorrow. Ross Detweiler and Dylan G. The Royals are kind of on life support as far as the wild card goes. They did win today over the White Sox 2-0. 3-2 pitch to Muncy. Strike 3 called on the inside corner, and that's the ball game. So Diaz comes in, does quick work of the A's with a couple of strikeouts, and he picks up the save. So the Mariners get the run in the top of the 9th inning, and that was the difference.
Well, the two-seamer is showed to Healy. This one comes back according to Will Little. He's not going to waste any time, and whether it's off the plate, pretty critical on the inside part, and called it a strike as he did with Healy.
So the game took 2 hours and 52 minutes. The crowd was 13,610. Mariners sweep the A's. Final score today, 3-2. You've been watching Oakland A's baseball on CSN California, part of the NBC Sports Group. Don't go away. A's postgame live with Brody Brazil and Shooty Babbitt starts right now.